The first half of 2025 has been packed with huge updates for space games, from grand strategy titles and 4X epics to shooters and space sims. Many beloved titles have unveiled major patches and expansions that dramatically expand their universes. It's an amazing time to be a fan of the genre, and we'll take a look at many of these titles starting with X4. Now, Egosoft's hardcore space sim X4 Foundations initially released all the way back in 2018 after many years in development. One thing that's always been a question on players' minds ever since its release though was whether or not Egosoft could improve the flight model. Well, this come to effect in an update actually dubbed the Flight Model Update. It's a dramatic rewrite of how ships handle in space, and Egosoft announced the patch brings a smoother and more realistic ship controls, and well, it turns out it actually does. The team partnered with ex-Star Citizen physics programmer John Pritchett, who had actually had extensive experience with spaceship flight models in video games. What this means is that every ship of any size feels heavier or more dynamic, means turning, drifting and even inertia behave more like a real craft in zero-G. To complement this new fleet feel, every ship's engines, thrusters and components have been rebalanced to suit the model. The result is a flight experience that many players describe as either rewarding or at first disorientating, but unquestionably more modern. In addition to the controls, the patch that come with this update is called 7.5 and expands the X4 Galaxy. Egosoft added several new sectors, physically connecting the previously distant Terran and Boron regions into one contiguous universe. They also tweaked the in-game economy to account for these new routes. On the graphics side, 7.50 brings modern tech. It enables NVIDIA DLSS, including DLAA, and AMD FSR3 support. These are some great upscaling features that really should help X4 run smoother at high resolutions. Now, taken together, the Flight Model Update 7.5 makes X4 feel and look like a much improved game. So whilst this is the latest update for X4, it's by no means the final one. There's many more on the way, including a diplomacy update scheduled for later this year. This will allow players to interact with other factions and alien races in ways they previously couldn't. In other words, there's going to be a new layer here that will allow players to take control of the galaxy through diplomacy rather than just economic methods or warfare. All in all then, a well-rounded experience. Further out and heading into 2026, Egosoft are discussing a new exploration-focused update, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what that one's about. Moving on, we come to Stellaris, Paradox Interactive's massive 4X strategy in space. It's grown tremendously since 2016's launch, and its latest major upgrade dropped in May 2025, and it came in two parts: the Biogenesis expansion and the free 4.0 Phoenix patch. Now, Biogenesis dives deeper into Stellaris' science fiction biology theme. Paradox bills it as a chance to take command of the forces of life itself. It overhauls the game's genetic ascension mechanics, which adds three distinct parts: cloning, purity, mutation, and new authorities. And it also introduces living starships and structures. In practical terms, you can now breed bespoke bioships, from battleships to support vessels, and these evolve with your empire. All of this is very much reflected in the new ship and city art. Now, even the Fallen Empires get an high variant with a twist of split personalities. Narrative content-wise, the players face a behemoth fury crisis. You literally breed an unstoppable organic monster to unleash on the galaxy. The expansion also adds 3 new origin stories and 6 new civics, so we got a load more role-playing variety in there. In short, Biogenesis encourages you to engineer living ships, terraform entire ecosystems, and wield advanced genetic tools, whether for utopia or for conquest. Alongside that is the Stellaris 4.0 update called Stellaris. This adds a whole bunch of new content and specifically reworks some of the core mechanics of Stellaris. In short, this is all keeping the game pretty fresh here in 2025. Now, Hello Games' procedurally generated Space Odyssey has continued to evolve ever since 2016 when it's launched, and here in 2025 the story is no different. We got a massive update which was Worlds Part 2. This released in January of this year. It's a big expansion of planets and story. The promise here was new stars, new stories and new planets, and it delivered on that by adding purple-hued solar systems brimming with these fantastical worlds. Now, there are titanic gas giants in here as well, and rare resources, each with its own moons and brutal storms, and the mysterious ancient ruins beneath the ice-capped terrain. The update also introduces a new narrative mission in the form of Stellar Multitudes, which deepens the story of Atlas, essentially weaving together time and space in an epic quest to recover lost star systems. In practical terms, every world feels much richer than before, and Hello Games tuned the Vast Universe generator to create sprawling new mountains, archipelagos, and dense jungles on untouched planets. Explorers are also going to notice and encounter brand new environmental challenges such as drifting toxic clouds and small-scale volcanic eruptions on planetary surfaces. Deep oceans in No Man's Sky are now also changed. We've got some really inspiring stuff here. You can dive miles below the surface into alien trench systems, illuminated only by the bioluminescent coral glows. In short, it's not just the surface of worlds that have been improved and changed, but also the oceans themselves. On top of that, a bunch of quality of life improvements also come along, which included inventory screens that can now be sorted with a single button press by name, type, value or colour, putting an end to the endless menu scrubbing. Worlds Part 2 then really does bring a whole load of variety to No Man's Sky's planets than we've seen before, but Hello Games weren't content just to leave it there for this year. In March 2025, the Relics update released. This was a smaller update, but it added a playful new theme: prehistoric space archaeology. Now, as you mow through the landscapes, you'll now sometimes unearth giant alien bones buried just below the surface. By uncovering skulls, rib cages and the like, players can piece together bizarre fossil skeletons of long-dead creatures. Each part has a rarity and can be assembled into skeleton displays for your base and even traded for profit. The developers even kicked off a community fossil expedition for a particularly rare find, the skeletal remains of the legendary Titan worm, which may lay in wait for your fossil hunters out there. And keeping a little bit of action here, a little action element, well, these areas can sometimes be protected by guardians, which spontaneously emerge to defend the bones. Between the massive changes then of Worlds Part 2 and the somewhat light-hearted digging game of Relics, No Man's Sky proves it still has a load of surprises to be delivered, and who knows, very likely there's going to be more updates later this year as well. Bethesda's space RPG Starfield also got a spring refresh, although this is more of a technical tune-up rather than new content. In May 2025, the developers pushed a public beta for title update 1.15.214. This patch doesn't add planets or quests, but it does add quite a bit under the hood to kind of smooth out gameplay and, well, add additional support for mods as well. Notably, a brand new, very low graphics setting has also been added, and this helps Starfield run both on low-end machines as well as the Steam Deck as well. It also gained support for ultra-wide resolutions, which includes 32:9 and 32:10, as well as several new formats as well, the 16:10 and 21:9 formats. These tweaks should help remedy earlier framerate drops, for example when opening the scanner after long play sessions, and generally improve performance on a wider range of hardware. On the modding side, the creation kit creators get a few new goodies here. Mods can now include new custom icons, in-game menus, and even bundle multiple creations together on the creation store. The upload size limit has also been raised up to 2 GB, opening the door for much larger mods. Bottom line, Bethesda are still putting out a few extra changes here for Starfield, a few extra stability and optimization changes. For players though, hoping the next update will add new adventures, this one is mostly about layering a better technical foundation. What this means for the future of Starfield still remains very much a mystery at this point. In February of 2025, Elite Dangerous got perhaps one of the largest expansions it's ever got outside of Odyssey and Horizons. The long-awaited Trailblazers update arrived, introducing a system colonization. As Frontiers patch notes exclaim, expand the bubble with the new system colonization beta. In practice, this means players can now stake claims to an entirely uninhabited star system. A new NPC contact called colonization appears on populated worlds, allowing you to select an empty system to claim. You then choose the initial base type, from a simple planetary outpost to a massive Coriolis station, and then kick off the claim. After selecting the primary port, you have 24 hours to deploy a colonization beacon into that system before it's otherwise open to others. Dropping the beacon summons the first colonization ship, a colossal titan of industry, which then begins construction. These titans serve as the backbone of expansion, and after the beacon is set, you must deliver required resources such as aluminium, copper, polymers, etc. to complete the construction of your first station. Now, once the initial station goes online, your work has only just begun. You can then expand your foothold by building additional facilities in your star system. These can be on planetary surfaces or in orbit. For example, you could place new space stations in asteroid belts. The Trailblazers adds ice and metallic asteroid stations here for this, or found city ports on planetary surfaces. Each new base develops the system's economy, and station owners get to name their outposts using existing naming interface or custom ARCS names. And a new third background simulation faction, the System Architect Squadron, appears in each colonized system to integrate your expansion into galactic politics. Ultimately then, the Trailblazer update hands the players control of the elite dangerous galaxy, the ability to build economic hubs from the ground up. It's a bold expansion for the Elite's universe and also changes the game on a foundational level, opening up many new potential possibilities for the future. Perhaps one of the best space shooters out there, Everspace 2 received its second expansion this year in the form of Wrath of the Ancients, and it's only just released actually if you're only just watching this video. The paid DLC continues the game's story from where the base campaign ended. The player is drawn into a conflict involving the alien Okar, an enigmatic alien civilization linked to the awakening of the malevolent ancient threat. Now, Wrath of the Ancients adds a hefty post-game campaign spanning 4 entirely new star systems, including the previously inaccessible Okar homeworlds, each packed with story missions and side quests. You'll also meet new characters here, both allies as well as adversaries. Along the way, you'll also get into battles with massive bosses as you unravel the plot. A major new highlight is the new Wraith class Okar fighter. This unique high-risk, high-reward craft uses alien tech fragments scavenged from enemies to power special abilities, making it unlike any other ship in the game so far. Rockfish Games, the developers, promises an expanded arsenal and gear throughout the DLC. Collect dozens of new weapons and crafting blueprints, many based on rare Okar technology, and be able to upgrade your ship with new equipment. Everspace 2 then firmly remains my very favourite space shooter out there, and this new content, this DLC, only serves to enhance that. Stardock's turn-based 4X game, Galactic Civilization 4, received its biggest DLC yet in February of this year. It's called Tales of the Arnor. This expansion uncovers secret history by introducing a completely new civilization, the Nyx, the forgotten ancestors of the Yor. According to Stardock, the Nyx represent what the Yor were before the rebellion, complete with their own philosophy and tech. Most impressively, the Nyx come with a brand new from-the-ground-up tech tree, over 100 new technologies, from advanced drones to powerful influence tactics. 40 new ships, over 40 new ship components, and 70 plus new planetary improvements as well, which are also unique to the Nyx. They also start with early access to the drone carrier line, but suffer penalties to food and research, demanding a wholly different strategy in your approach to the game itself. Here then, playing the Nyx feels like learning somewhat of a fresh game of Galactic Civilization 4, one where machines grow differently to the other more organic races. Tales of the Arnor then also includes a single-player campaign mission called The Yor's True Origins. In it, you witness the cataclysmic event of the Yor rebels split from their Iconian creators, and you must decide for yourself who the real villain of that story is. This narrative revisits and expands the lore, giving longer-time fans a new perspective on the series' backstory. Beyond the Nyx and the campaign, the DLC also adds content for all players, new anomaly events scattered across the galaxy, powerful artifacts to discover, each with game-changing effects, and a brand new galactic crisis scenario, as well as dozens of fresh civilization logos and insignias. Galactic Civilizations 4 then is already a great 4X grand strategy title, and with this new update, it really does add to the overall experience. So there we have it then, 7 brand new updates coming to 7 of the best space games out there. If you feel I've missed any updates, do let me know in the comments section, or alternatively, if you'd like to see me cover them in the future, I'd also like to hear from you. Thanks for watching this video all the way through. There is another one on the screen right here. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.